Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, who has had or has a job that they thought was or is hard right now? No? Me? Okay. So, today, what we are going to talk about is child labor. And to sum it up, child labor is mostly human trafficking that is taking a child away from their home or where they live they take them away and from any form of activity like school or playing or anything and put them into the workforce. Okay? So, like when we see a child being kidnapped on TV or in the newspaper or just on the media, when we see the child being taken away, it's usually child labor and they're being forced into the work. So unlike us, where if we're sick or something, we can just say, call in and say, hey, I'm not going to work. Where if they're sick or injured, they have to go into work. They have no choice. For me, before the speech, I learned about child labor through church camp, and I've talked to the missionary and learned more about child labor, and with this research I've learned even more. So it's an important issue because of the child labor's age and their pay rate, where they are kidnapped, and some of the factories that use it. So today we are going to look at the main age and with their pay rate of how much they get paid hourly, where they are kidnapped within the U.S., and some factories that uses child labor. So first, we will look at the pay rate. According to something.org, a website that makes positive changes in 2015, in developing countries, an estimated 168 million children ages 5 to 14 are forced to work. We can never imagine that because for us, we've started when we were 14 or 15 years old. So it's just really unbelievable. According to Essel and Kent, 1921, students at Harvard Middle School, weavers work from 5:30 in the morning until 7 at night, and the wages are from 10 to 20 cents per day. Now, according to minimum wage, a U.S. Department of Labor, the Missouri minimum wage is $7.70 per hour. To my calculations, it's to get to that from what the children are being paid. They get paid from $3,850 to $7,700%. Now that's kind of unbelievable since we get so much paid more and they get paid less. So I just want to say that so we can understand what they're going through and how much they don't have compared to what we have. So next, we will look at some factories, some places where they are kidnapped within the U.S. So, according to Manda Freedom 2013, a human trafficking website, some places that human trafficking happens is in St. Louis, Las Vegas, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Tampa, San Diego, Atlanta, and all those big cities. So I just want to say, so we can be aware of, when we have younger siblings or when we have children, be aware of when we go to these cities, that it happens more often in these cities than Warrensburg or any other state. And most of us have been to these cities, at least one or more of these cities. So yeah. Now we'll look onto some factories. We'll look onto some factories that use it. Now we want to see what factories use it because we eat most of these factories. We we see every day. So, who eats Hershey's? Yeah. Okay, so according to Robbins, 2011, an author of several magazines like the New York Times, Chicago Life, Washington Post, and many other big-time sellers, Hershey, which is the largest chocolate manufacturer in the world, gets its chocolate from West Africa. And for Hershey's, it's really dangerous because since they live in West Africa and the cocoa grow on trees, the children will go up and climb these big trees, which they can fall at any time and break their arm or anything, and they just get sent back to work. So that can be hazardous. And then after they get the cocoa, they go back down and they cut the cocoa into a machine, which can, cut off that arm and can really be hazardous. So now let's look at another one. Who wears Nike on a regular basis? Okay? So according to Hemman 2016, author that shows like businesses, how they treat people and animals in the environment, Nike has committed to not acknowledging using Azkaban cotton where forced labor and child labor has been read. And I know that's a typo, that's where it was from the website. And so they'll send these children out to the cotton field, grab the cotton, which no one really, we wear cotton, but it will make our eyes itchy and everything. And so, just like Nike, they know where their provider is, but they don't know who's in that provider. So, and that provider are the children. So, what we've talked about today is the main age, what their pay rate they receive, kidnapping, where they are kidnapped within the U.S., and factories that use child labor. And I'm not saying to stop eating Hershey's or stop wearing Nike, but start thinking about who made it. And to answer that, who thinks, the first question, who thinks your job is hard or was hard, think about what they have to go through and that their job is much harder.
Great job. What was the time for that one?
7:46.